in Bible studies. Other inmates described him as someone who spent much of his time talking about faith and spirituality. And that creates a difficult question. Can someone who commits a horrific crime genuinely change? It's a question people have debated for generations. Some believe redemption is possible, others believe certain actions can never be redeemed. No matter where you stand, the contrast is striking. The man prosecutors described at trial appeared very different from the man prison officials and fellow inmates would describe decades later. Then, in 2025, after spending roughly 35 years on death row, Gregory Hunt's sentence was finally carried out. But even his execution made headlines. Instead of lethal injection, Alabama used nitrogen hypoxia, a controversial execution method that had only recently been introduced. Supporters claimed it was more humane. Critics argued there was not enough evidence to know exactly what a person experiences during the process. Witnesses reported involuntary body movements during the execution, which immediately sparked debate across the country. Some called it progress, others called it experimentation. But regardless of how people felt about the method, one thing was undeniable. The Gregory Hunt case had finally reached its conclusion. For Karen Lane's family, it marked the end of a legal process that had lasted nearly 4 decades. And that brings us to one of the most shocking realities about death row in America. Most people assume someone sentenced to death is executed within a few years. In reality, many inmates spend 20, 30, or even 35 years waiting. Think about that. A person can commit a crime before the internet becomes mainstream and still be alive long enough to see social media, smartphones, and entirely new generations emerge before their sentence is carried out. That's exactly what happened here. The crime occurred in 1988. The execution happened nearly 4 decades later. Whether you support the death penalty or oppose it, that's a reality worth thinking about. Because the Gregory Hunt case isn't just a story about murder. It's a story about trust. It's a story about violence. It's a story about whether people can truly change. And it's a reminder that sometimes the most dangerous person in your life isn't a stranger.